Hello, we've reached the conclusion of the fairies here. We'd left off yesterday when the two squirrels were laughing. What else? Our rubbish snubs. The string bags left from our nuts. I would just throw that away. How? Said Snubs. You can't lift the lid when you're standing on it. Oh, I see what you mean. The Major, they both said exactly the same time. Good idea, said Timmy. They shook paws. They looked out of the open door. Oh my gosh, there was crowds of birds, insects, snakes, frogs, animals everywhere. Timmy said, I can't see 'em anywhere. Let me look, said Snubs. No, I can't either. Who are you looking for, may I ask? Little Snubs jumped. Oh, sorry. Hello. Snubs looked at this big bird. He had never seen one before. It was big, had a really long tail. Its feathers were brown and gold speckled. Its breast was a sort of plum colour, with a white ring around its neck. Above the white ring it was dark green. Its head was black, with a red face. He just stared at it. I said, who are you looking for? Oh, excuse me. Snubs ran back into the shed as Timmy had gone back in. We forgot our rubbish, said Timmy. Forget that, Timmy. There's a bird outside. I don't know what it is. Oh, for goodness sake. Timmy poked his head out of the shed. Oh, do you mean the one with the long tail, plum-coloured breast, the... Yes, said Snubs, interrupting his friend. That's a pheasant. Oh, come out with me, please. Timmy went out with his bashful friend. The poor bird was still waiting for a reply. He said for a third time, who are you looking for? Timmy said, we're looking for the Major. We need his help. Only a big bird can help. I see. The Major. Not here at the moment, is he? What did you need him to do? We need him to just lift the dustbin lid off so we can throw our rubbish away. Oh, well, it's a shame there's not a big bird around, isn't it? Said the pheasant, tapping its claw on the ground. Yes, said Timmy. Well, thank you anyway. The two young squirrels turned to go in the shed. They stopped and looked at each other. They had both realised at the same time. They both ran back out of the shed, nearly bumping into the pheasant, who had stayed there, waiting for them to realise. Could you do it for us, please? Yes, of course, replied the pheasant. The pheasant flew onto the lid of the bin, grabbed the handle with its claws, flapped its wings. The big bird hovered over the bin. Timmy quickly leapt onto the bin and dropped his rubbish inside. That lid looked really heavy for that bird. Timmy jumped down and the pheasant was relieved. It dropped the lid down with a loud clatter. Once again everyone turned, realised it was something to do with Timmy and Snubs, and turned away again. Thank you, pheasant. The two squirrels said, that's quite all right. He flew over to join his wife, who was not nearly as colourful as he was. Hello, Timmy and Snubs. It was Orny and Yellowbeak arriving. The two squirrels waved to their friends. Now all we have to do is lock the door and put the key back in the kitchen, said Timmy. My turn, said Snubs. He leapt up to the doorknob. Hold on tight, Snubs. It might help if you push your back legs against the shed. Snubs, move your left paw to the right. A bit, or it will get caught in the door. Thanks, Timmy. I'm ready. Timmy leant against the door and pushed it. Then Timmy shouted, I forgot, Snubs, when the door is level with the shed, if you turn that knob right, then I will push the door, and then you will let go of the knob, and it will click shut. Hold on to the key whilst you let go of the knob, all right? So Timmy pushed the door. It reached the shed. Snubs turned the doorknob right. Timmy pushed the door shut, and Snubs let go of the doorknob. It clicked shut. Snub turned the key, and it clicked. He jumped down. Brilliant, Snubs. Now if you just take the key into the kitchen, opposite the cat flap, above the counter you will see hooks with keys on. Just put the shed key on one of those hooks. Snubs did as his friend had told him. When he came out of the cat flap, the two friends managed to work their way through the crowds, and they jumped up to the top of the fence where Orny and Yellowbeak had saved them a seat. Snubs elbowed Timmy. Look, there's the Major. They'd moved, that's why we couldn't find him, whispered Snubs. Timmy looked to where Snubs was pointing, and there, in one of Mighty Oak's branches, sat the Major and his wife Dulcie. The big bird saluted to the two young squirrels. They proudly saluted back. My friends. Everyone was talking. They could not hear the mighty tree addressing them. The Major said in his loudest voice, "Can we have quiet, please? A bit of respect. Mighty Oak is speaking." It went quiet. Everyone stopped talking. "Thank you, Major. I think, my friends, before I begin, I would like to say that what has been achieved would not have happened if it was not for hard work, dedication, loyalty, bravery. Yes, I said bravery. And those who am I talking about know who you are, and there are those of you who have helped them achieve their goals. I cannot thank you all enough. Now whilst I remember, I had something delivered to me this morning all the way from Blackpool. Snubs, in my uppermost branches you will see a parcel. May you get it, please, and give it to the Major?" "Yes, sir." Snubs was very proud to be asked. He leapt up to the highest branches. There was no need to search. He could smell this parcel, and it smelt lovely. It was wrapped up in a newspaper and tied with string. It was quite big, however. Snubs managed it. He jumped down the Mighty Oak's branches and gave the Major the parcel. The Major placed it at his feet. Snubs sat back next to Timmy. His friend patted him on the back. "There was a message with this parcel, Major. If you will be so kind, Orny." "Yes, of course," said the young tawny owl. Orny stepped sideways off of the paper Mighty Oak had given him earlier. He turned around and read the message. "My new friend, the Major. I was listening to the radio at work when they announced a curious story of drivers saying they'd spotted a herring gull carrying a newspaper and pulling a kite. And then they announced, if this was not strange enough, there were reports later of a herring gull flying towards Manchester carrying a kite in his beak. No mention of a newspaper. Please, if anyone knew anything about this story, would they contact the station? As soon as I heard this, I knew it was you. The gift is my small way of saying thank you for returning that child's kite. I hope you enjoy your small gift. Love from Fred, the cod and cockle." The Major looked watery-eyed. Dulcie put her wing around him. "Now, to tell you all the news, my friends. The fair will not be returning to our park again." There was many cheers, except from the rats, some foxes, and 2 ravens. "Although you do not think so, this is good news for all. We will not have the thousands of our insects lost every year, the losses we have from our young, the fledgling birds we lose. Mr. Perkins, our park keeper, will not have the terrible damage to the park. We will not have all that noise. 3 bats, one brown long-eared, and 2 common pipistrelle have had permanent damage to their ears. Now, for all of you like the fair, for the extra food, whatever the reason, I'm sure you will be pleased to know it could well be for a further 6 weeks before it moves to its permanent home 5 miles away on the old car factory site." The rats, foxes, and ravens clapped for joy. "So you see, it is good news for everyone." "Not quite everyone," said Yellow Beak. "Not for Clive's wife, Sarah. If it wasn't for humans, we would not have to worry anyway. There wouldn't be a silly fair." "Yellow Beak, you really must stop this hatred of humans. Who do you think sent the Major the gift? What did Orny tell you about Peter and his father?" What? The mighty tree stopped talking. He looked down. What was going on? Right at the back of the garden there was a lot of movement. Everyone was moving aside for something. It had gone really quiet. What was slowly walking along the path they had formed? As it got closer, the mighty tree said, "It's not, is it? Is that you, my friend, Clive?" Sarah, who was sitting on the ground in front of Mighty Oak, turned around. There, limping slowly towards her, was her husband, Clive. He was limping, but alive. She threw herself at him. "Where have you been?" Oh, she noticed he had lost his right front paw. "What happened to you? I thought we'd lost you," she said, holding on to her husband, scared to let go, now that she had him back. He sat down, tired. "It's all right. It's not as bad as it looks. I've got used to it. It does not hurt. The only reason I limp is because my leg is so much shorter than the others. Remember when they placed that test your strength thing down and you warned me and I pushed the nippers out the way? They're all right, aren't they?" "Yes, darling, they're tucked up safe in bed." "Good. Well, I wasn't quick enough. It came down on my front paw. It was no good. It was gone. A man took me straight to the vets. They suggested that I be put to sleep. I'd lost a lot of blood and they didn't think I could manage without my front foot. However, he did not agree. He took me home. He cared for me. If it wasn't for his kindness, I wouldn't be here. He put a special cream on my stump so it would not get infected. Fed me the best of foods. I had eggs from his chickens, the fattest of worms, best cuts of meat. Every day I got strength and stronger. He released me this morning. Sarah, I would like us to move to his garden. I know he will be pleased to see me, and I really do think that's our best option. We'll be safe with him. The children will love him. The mighty tree said, Yellow Beak, it's all right, Mighty Oak, I understand. Honestly, I do. There are kind, loving people. Well, my friends, what a perfect end of the day. Now remember, our family are coming home from holiday on Friday. However, for now, I suggest we celebrate. The family arrived home on Friday. Mrs. White made sure the first thing she did was collect Andrew's goldfish from Mr. and Mrs. Perkins. She was longer than Andrew or Ron thought she was, but of course they didn't know all the news she was catching up on. And Rose could not believe so much had happened in that short time. As Ron was waiting for his wife to come home, he thought he would go and check on the garden, how the strawberries were doing, that sort of thing. Andrew, do you want to help Daddy in the garden? Yes, please, Daddy. I have to tell my tree about the castle first. Andrew ran straight to Mighty Oak. He knelt in front of the tree, talking away. Ron watched his son for a while, trying to remember if he'd had an imaginary friend at that age. He decided he would not worry too much. Andrew was only 7. Right, I see a couple of weeds to get rid of. He got the shed key from the hook in the kitchen. That's odd. I never put the shed key on that hook, he thought to himself. Ron entered the shed. He was very confused. The area is now closed and laying on the floor. The 2 hessian sacks that were drying were now folded and put back on the pile. Ron steps out of the shed and he called to his son. Andrew? Andrew? Yes, Daddy? I was the last one to lock the shed, wasn't I? No, Daddy. It was Timmy and Snubs. My tree just told me. I see. Who are Timmy and Snubs? His father asked. The squirrels, of course. The end.